Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to the Film and Photography Society podcast, the podcast by FPS for FPS, where we discuss all things film and entertainment. So sit back, grab some popcorn, and get ready for today's episode on...
Alrighty, there we go. Okay. So, welcome everybody to today's episode of the FPS Podcast. Today we have a really special guest with us, Sam Mallari, who is the past president of FPS. Yay! And she also held a couple different positions on eBoard, like throughout her time at FPS. We're really excited to have her here today talking about skills we can develop in college to help prepare us to enter the film and television industry. So welcome to Sam, and I'll pass it on over to her to introduce herself.
Hi, happy to be here. I graduated in 2019 with a major in international development and a minor in disability studies. So it's very interesting to be talking about entering the film and TV industry. And I'm just happy to see you all working on yourselves and encouraging each other during this time. So hopefully I can be of help.
And today, I didn't introduce myself, I realized. But yeah, I'm Caitlin. I'm one of the hosts for today, and I'm joined by two other FPS members who are going to introduce themselves too.
Hi, my name is Zerez. I just joined FPS this year. It's my first year at UCLA, and I'm super excited to get to know more about the film and entertainment industry in general, and really hoping to develop my skills throughout my time. And I'm really looking forward to talking to Sam today and learning a bit more about the process.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm a freshman at UCLA, and I'm excited to figure out what skills I should be building. Okay, so let's jump into it. The first question is, coming into college, did you know that you wanted to work in the film or TV industry? If not, what pushed you in that direction?
Very good question. Kind of loaded. Because it's, as I said before, I was not a film major. I came into college thinking that I would be a journalist, specifically because I didn't really see myself being able to afford being in film or TV, quite honestly. And I knew that I loved editing and I loved writing, but I wasn't sure how to put all my strengths and interests together into something that could be a job or a career. So what pushed me in that direction towards being a screenwriter eventually. So what pushed me in that direction was going into FPS my freshman year and meeting people who were more experienced than I was, and just talking to a lot of upperclassmen who seemed like, they were doing things that they loved. And just seeing that, like, people who are like me, who come from my background, can be doing stuff that they love for a potential job, like, that was so powerful. And that's what led me to pursue what I do.
And what is it do you do right now?
So right now I'm a screenwriter. I also balance that with freelance writing for different journals and outlets, and also just being a journalist. I worked as a journalist for a year after graduation, and before that I did a lot of VR and producing stuff. So yeah, primarily a comedy screenwriter.
What skills did you develop in college that have helped you navigate the film industry?
So when I entered college, I thought that the only way to navigate the film industry was by going to entertainment networking nights and, looking on LinkedIn and trying my best to get an unpaid internship. And the truth is that those did not help very much in working in film and TV. The best thing that you could do for yourself in college is to just be open. Be open to different kinds of things, different kinds of people, and always accept feedback on things. So the best thing that I did in college was being able to, make friends in different fields, and ask a lot of questions. Before I get into the skills thing, can I ask Zaraiz and Julia, what are you interested in right now?
Currently, I'm interested in working with sound and film. I'm a music history and industry major.
So currently I'm very into photography. So right now I want to learn more about not just photography, but also like cinematography and like actual like filming.
Oh, that's so cool. What I love about both of those interests is that you're more on the technical side, which I think is such a good place to be. Before I ever wanted to be a writer, I wanted to be an editor. So in the same vein, like I was very focused on making a good reel and getting my name out there. And a skill that helped me with making that reel and allowing people to to see me as an editor was just surrounding myself with the right people. I think that is such a cliche, but meeting people who you vibe with is so important, because those are the people that you will be making productions with, the people that you will be going on photo shoots with and doing sound for. So that is absolutely the most important skill, because those people will support you when you don't feel like you're doing your best, and they'll keep you going, which is the most important thing for film and TV. Just keep going, be with good people.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sam. Like, I'm in my last year at UCLA now, and the two things that have really helped me the most is like exactly what she said, just being open to new opportunities, like coming out of my comfort zone and like trying different things. Because I mean, I came in without a major. I had like no idea what I wanted to do. Like, really letting myself explore to like find out like what my natural talents are, like what I'm good at, things like that. Those are honestly like the best skills you can develop in college. That is also so cliche, and like probably people are like, gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, I want things I can like write down and like actual skills I can go do a course on and develop.
But it's
like
way harder than that. The hard truth is that it is cliche, but it's something we have to grapple with. And I think what's so brilliant about you, Caitlin, because I met you when you were still like young in college. You are still young in college. Why am I saying that? Yeah. But from the very first time I met Caitlin, she just like popped, she was very open about what she was interested in and who she is. And I think that's super important, because in my head, I'm like, oh, I remember Caitlin. She's so cool. She loves books and she's so funny. And she's very like open and vocal about her interests, right? And then that's such a big part of building yourself up in your college career. Just knowing who you are and being open with people and sharing that, authentic self with other people. Because honestly, at the beginning of college, I didn't really tell people what I was interested in, really. I didn't tell people I was interested in writing comedy. And it wasn't until later that I realized, oh, if I don't tell people, then they won't know and I won't find the right community, right? So yeah, always be open with other people and with yourself.
I was going to say like 3 years from now, like I'm going to come back as a guest on the podcast and I'm going to say the same thing about like Julia and Zerai. And be like, yes, these are the freshmen who are like on top of it.
I guess it's really helpful if you're like really passionate about the topic or like you're really interested in learning. It really helps you motivate yourself, and I think that's like the first step. Like you need to feel that passion if you want to like continue down a path.
Yeah, and it's such a big task that freshmen, or at least I felt like it was such a big task when I was a freshman to pick a passion and run with it. And especially with film and TV, it's important to understand not what you are passionate about, but also why you are passionate about it. Because it's really easy to fall into this feeling like, oh, I'm passionate about this because everyone else is, or because, maybe it'll lead to a very high paying career. And it's hard to like separate yourself from expectation and the reality that maybe that passion will make finding a career that's high paying very hard. That's just like the brutal thing. But yeah, just make sure you are very genuine and honest with yourself. Take that time early on in your underclassmen. I don't like that phrase. In your early college years, to really just don't worry about the career so much, which sounds so ironic considering what this is. But don't worry too much. Yeah. Did that make sense?
It did. I totally agree with that.
Ooh, I want to touch on what you said about job security. So what skill did you develop that helped you land your first film job?
Yeah. So job, not internship, correct?
Either.
Okay. For both, finding jobs and finding internships, what really helped was, I don't want to be cliche again, but it really was finding the right people. Now, how do we do that? Because it's not just luck. It's not just like, oh, this person falls into your lap. That never happens. What happens is you are honest with people about what you love about their work. Why do you really want to support them? What excites you about the things they put out in the world? And just making that genuine connection with people was a really good skill. For example, cold emailing a director and writer that I loved eventually led to mentorship. I just found her name in the development pile at my internship. And I was like, wow, this person's work really resonates with me as a Filipino American writer. And she's writing Filipino characters. That's so cool. So I cold emailed her and said, I really like your style. I love your sense of humor. I would love to buy you a coffee one day. Thank you for your work. It's something as simple as that can lead you in the right direction towards just maintaining this connection with this person. And no, I didn't expect a job or internship, but that did lead me to building a support system that would sustain me through the hard times and the good times, which is what you should be really aiming for, not just asking people for a job,
Yeah, I've had similar experiences because I remember being in like my second, third year and I would like apply to all these internships and I got rejected from like every single one. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, do I not have what it takes to make it in this industry? But also, when I finally did get my first development internship, it was just through someone I knew. Greatest advantage you really can have in this industry is just like knowing people and bringing your best self to like every piece of work you do within the industry. So whether it's like working on a short film or like whether it's, having a guest like Ben on the podcast, just like really like showing your best stuff to that person and making that person feel like, oh, this is somebody who like I want to work with and like who can bring like either like a great personality to a team or like a great skill. Because honestly, like as students too, like no one really expects us to have anything figured out, which is like, I feel like we put that pressure on ourselves sometimes, but like nobody expects us to know what we're doing. They expect us to like ask questions and like want to learn a lot of stuff. But like on that subject, do you think it's a lot about just like, do you think it's more so like putting yourself out there, or do you think it's luck, or do you think it's a balance between both?
Right. So I very much live by the philosophy that, okay, luck is just being prepared and being surrounded with the right people who you like and can vibe with. But let's focus on the being prepared part because really I put myself in a bad position early on in college because I thought the one thing that I really needed to succeed was a lot of internships and a lot of jobs. And for Zarais and Julia, I urge you not to do that. Take your time, really. Take your time and mind your time. Make art and be open. And if you can, don't worry too much about industry internships and jobs. If you need jobs to like sustain your own financial needs, definitely don't worry about that. It's okay for people to get jobs that are not in the industry. I did a VR job hugely because I wanted to, sustain myself. And I don't think that's talked enough. I don't think enough people talk about that. Like, no shame on you if you have to do a different job or non-related industry thing. Prepare yourself in the best way by creating however you can, whatever it takes. Like if it's only on the weekends, go out with friends and take photos. Or if you're in sound or want to compose, definitely try to do those little projects, like one project, personal passion project every quarter. And that can take you so far, much farther than any unpaid internship, shitty internship that's out there. Was I allowed to cuss? Okay, cool.
It'd be like that sometimes. We'll flow with it.
What is your favorite skill?
Okay, I will give you a practical and a non-practical answer to that. So I think when you're starting out and people are going to be interviewing you and sending you short essay questions to get into like certain fellowships and programs, scholarships, whatever. A good skill that you can continue to work on is being able to talk about yourself. It's so, so important. And I'm still so insecure about it and not perfect at it. Because you'll be surprised how important that is within the interview room and outside of it. People will be asking you like, what's your elevator pitch? Or, tell me about yourself. These are huge loaded questions that have changed over the course of my college career. And it's okay if it changes, but just always think about, what do I want? How do I want to present myself to the world? Which is a very loaded thing, but you're going to need it. And the best way that I've learned to build on that skill is just by like asking for help and talking to people like, oh, I don't know about this short essay question for this program. Can you take a look at my responses so far? Or if it's a reel, like you two might be making a lot of reels, always ask for feedback on that. Because the way you present yourself means so much. And often when we're looking at it with our own eyes, it's hard to tell like what we can do to improve. So always find people that give very good feedback. Friends, industry mentors, anyone. And then the less practical advice would be to have a sense of humor and don't take yourself too seriously. I mean it. Like it's a soft skill, right? That won't alone get you a job. But there was a period of time in college where I was just applying to things and like what Caitlin said, just getting rejected to everything. And looking back, the only thing that really got me through that was just staying, like, just looking at it in the big picture. Okay, these things aren't too serious. I can still create things. I can still have agency over what kind of work I put out, right? So never take yourself too seriously or those opportunities. Like they don't define your life. They don't define your career. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say like, I was expecting you to say like a skill, like I don't know, something. I mean, no offense to you, but I was just like expecting something like time management or some kind of BS like that, which I mean, those are important skills and you learn those in college anyway and they take you like very far. But I mean, really and truly, like having your like elevator pitch ready, like having a really solid introduction, like memorized and down is so important because I'm taking a development class right now. And there's this one guy in class. We have like guests, like industry guests coming to talk to us every week. And there's this one guy who he'll always ask a question to the guest, but he'll always start off with introducing himself like every single time. And I'm so impressed that like he can deliver that like so smoothly and so confidently like every single time. And I always see that and I think like, wow, I need to train myself to be able to do that.
Yeah. And it takes so long to do that. So don't worry if you don't have it right now. But also, I want to add to that. When you are introducing yourself to people, don't put aspiring in front of what you do, like aspiring photographer, aspiring sound designer, right? You're already doing these things. So it took me a long time to train myself. Don't be self-deprecating or don't be too humble either about what you do. Especially like this is a room full of women, right? It's easy to fall into that. I saw when I was doing development internships, a lot of women writers specifically would be like, I'm an aspiring or up and coming writer, which don't like knock yourself down. You're just going to feel bad after an interview or after a meeting. You are a photographer. You do work in sound. I am a writer. Don't add aspiring. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know if you guys believe in like manifesting and stuff like that, but that's like a big thing in the realm of like manifesting. Like you always say like, I am, or this already is. Like you don't ever like self-deprecate, because that really like takes away from like your manifesting abilities and stuff. Yeah. But anyway, this is not a spiritual podcast, so I'll mix it there.
I believe it. Don't take away your power. You're powerful, especially when you're just starting out.
I agree. Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions to ask Sam before we wrap up?
I did want to ask, do you think that it makes sense to learn a bit about everything and be a jack of all trades, or be a master of one?
Mm-hmm. You are going to want to be a master eventually, right? The great thing about starting college is that you can dip into a lot of different things. So you don't have to be a master right away is what I'm going to tell you. I didn't commit to writing until halfway through college. Before that, I explored a lot of different things and met a lot of different people. And that made my writing eventually so much better and will make your photography and sound work so much better as well. Dip and then commit. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sam, for being with us today. You're definitely insightful. And I think it's nice to have guests who we don't know come in and talk to us, because they always bring like fresh new perspectives. But it's even nicer, like I personally think, no offense to any other like guests we had who are watching this right now or listening to this right now, but like it's always nice to have like our own alums come back and talk to us and really make us like appreciate the value of our club and like, you know, all the potential that we have like access to just from like being with people in this club and exploring our talents through like, you know, making films with each other and like recording podcasts with each other and doing like other creative things together. So thank you so much for coming and chatting with us today, and hopefully we can have you back in the future.
No problem. My pleasure. And best of luck to all of you. I don't know how hard it must be to be in school and juggling all of this during a pandemic. So I just want to say kudos to you. And if you need absolutely anything, feel free to reach out.